His name, Danelo Cavalcante, has become synonymous with fear for many in Pennsylvania. Just 13 days ago, this convicted murderer made a daring escape from a high-security prison, leaving the community in shock.
As police continue their manhunt for the convicted murderer who escaped from a prison in Pennsylvania, authorities just releasing this video that shows him scale a wall at the Chester County prison and then make a run for it. Turns out another inmate escaped using the same method earlier this year, was quickly taken into custody. Prison officials say they have made changes following that escape, but that didn't stop Cavalcante from slipping away somehow last week.
Now, reports suggest he's not just on the run, but armed and potentially hiding deep within the countryside. As the manhunt intensifies, one can't help but wonder, how did it come to this? And will he ever be found? Well, we will get to know very soon.
New video showing the moment convicted murderer Danelo Cavalcante escaped a Pennsylvania prison last week. The 5-foot, 120-pound inmate extended his arms and legs against a narrow section of the exercise yard before crab walking up the wall to the roof and dropping down on the other side. Cavalcante then pushed through multiple layers of razor wire to escape the Chester County prison.
While we believe the security measures we had in place were sufficient, they've proven otherwise, and we move quickly to enhance our security measures.
County officials say this escape is nearly identical to another inmate's escape at the exact same spot just 4 months ago. Court documents obtained by CNN describe how that inmate also climbed a wall in an exercise yard and, quote, pulled himself onto the roof of the prison. But the tower guard on duty flagged the inmate. Within 5 minutes, he was caught. That did not happen last week.
The tower officer did not observe nor report the escape. The escape was discovered as part of the inmate counts that occurs when inmates come in from the exercise yard.
The escape of Danelo Cavalcante from a Pennsylvania prison has sent shockwaves throughout the state. On the fateful day of August 31st, Cavalcante, who was awaiting transfer to a state prison, showcased a level of audacity that few could fathom. Using his agility, he was captured on prison cameras, scrambling up the prison walls, navigating through barbed wire, and making his way onto the roof, all in a bid for freedom. In the wake of his escape, the police were quick to alert the residents of South Coventry Township, a community located about 20 miles from the Chester County prison from which he fled. The message was clear: lock all doors and windows, secure vehicles, and most importantly, stay indoors. The reason for such caution? Cavalcante was not just a fugitive. He was now armed with a .22 caliber rifle. The gravity of the situation was further emphasized by the police's description of him as extremely dangerous, urging the public to avoid any form of confrontation. The situation took a more alarming turn when a local homeowner in Coventryville Road reported an altercation. The resident, in a bid to protect his home, shot an individual fitting Cavalcante's description. While it remains uncertain if the fugitive was injured, no traces of blood were found at the scene, deepening the mystery. As days turned into weeks, the urgency to capture Cavalcante grew exponentially. The search operation saw an unprecedented escalation, with up to 600 law enforcement personnel joining the manhunt. Their mission? A massive sweep of the area to ensure the fugitive's recapture. The ripple effect of his escape was felt in the community, leading to the closure of local schools and the establishment of numerous roadblocks, all in a bid to tighten the net around him. Recognizing the potential value of public assistance, authorities have upped the ante, offering a reward of $25,000 for any information that could lead to Cavalcante's capture. The message from law enforcement is clear. While they are doing everything in their power to apprehend the fugitive, the eyes and ears of the public could prove invaluable in this high-stakes game of cat and mouse. Diving deeper into the life of Danelo Cavalcante, we uncover a trail of crimes that span 2 countries. Born on July 3, 1989, in Maranhão, Brazil, Cavalcante's life took a dark turn early on. Accused of murder in the Brazilian state of Tocantins, he became a name that many would come to fear. In 2017, the streets of Figueirópolis, Tocantins, Brazil, witnessed a chilling crime. Cavalcante shot and killed Walter Jr. Moreira dos Reis, a student. The two were friends, and the motive? a debt that Walter owed him. But Cavalcante's cunning didn't end there. Before Brazilian authorities could slap on the cuffs, he fled the country. And not just anywhere, but to the United States, evading an arrest warrant issued in June 2018. It's almost like a movie plot, but with real consequences. One might wonder, how did he manage to flee? Well, due to a delay in registering the decision in the National Warrant Registry, Cavalcante smoothly left Brazil through Brasilia International Airport. But the United States wasn't a fresh start for Cavalcante. Here, he began a relationship with Deborah Brandau, also a Brazilian. Love turned sour, and by 2021, Cavalcante's name was once again linked to a heinous crime. On a fateful day in April, in front of her house and in the presence of her 2 young children, Cavalcante attacked Deborah, stabbing her 38 times. The aftermath was tragic. Deborah succumbed to her injuries, and her children were left traumatized. The reason for this brutality? Cavalcante wanted to silence Deborah, who knew about his wanted status in Brazil. His capture in Virginia while attempting to flee to Mexico was a small solace for the grieving family. The courts in Chester County, Pennsylvania, found him guilty of first-degree murder, sentencing him to life without parole. But as we've seen, prison walls couldn't hold him for long. Danelo Cavalcante's escape from prison was just the beginning of a series of calculated moves that kept law enforcement on their toes. The man's ability to adapt and change his appearance played a significant role in his evasion. Shortly after his escape, he shaved off his facial hair, a simple yet effective tactic to alter his appearance and potentially throw off those searching for him. Now, imagine you're chilling at home, and suddenly, you spot an intruder. That's exactly what happened to Ryan Drummond, a resident of Pocopson Township. The day after Cavalcante's escape, Drummond had an unexpected visitor. To let the intruder know he wasn't alone, Drummond played a little light show, flickering the lights. Talk about a subtle, "I see you" message. Drummond described the experience as a moment of disbelief. And honestly, who could blame him? But Cavalcante's escapades didn't stop there. Over the next few days, this guy was everywhere, from being captured on security cameras to being spotted by locals. He seemed to be playing a real-life game of Where's Waldo. The main stage for this game? Longwood Gardens, a massive botanical garden. And let me tell you, this wasn't just any garden. We're talking about a 1,000-acre hide-and-seek playground. Joseph Giacalone, a retired NYPD sergeant, pointed out that Pennsylvania isn't just cities and towns. It's filled with vast farmlands, offering countless hiding spots. Think barns, empty houses, and culverts. It's like nature's version of a maze. Despite the challenges, officers were on their toes, searching relentlessly. Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens highlighted the difficulties they faced, from dense vegetation to the weight of their equipment. But hey, no complaints from them. They were up for the challenge. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. On the night of September 9th, our fugitive found an unlocked van with the keys inside. And guess what? He took it for a joyride. The van belonged to dairy farmers from Bailey's Dairy of Pocopson Meadow Farm. And if you're wondering, yes, Cavalcante did turn off the refrigeration unit on top. But every good story has its twists. The van was later found abandoned, out of gas. This raised eyebrows on how Cavalcante managed to breach the search perimeter. Bivens explained that no perimeter is foolproof. It's not a fortress, after all. Giacalone added his 2 cents, comparing the search perimeter to a wrestling ring. It's not a cage match, folks. Now, it was at this point our fugitive Cavalcante broke into a homeowner's garage and grabbed a .22 caliber rifle. The homeowner, being in the garage at the time, didn't take too kindly to this and opened fire. Cavalcante, however, made a swift exit, rifle in tow.
The manhunt for an escaped killer in Pennsylvania. Police now say he is armed with a rifle he stole from a garage where the homeowner opened fire on him. Our George Solis is there for us.
Tonight, the search to find Danelo Cavalcante intensifying with a new threat to police in the community. The escaped killer now has a gun.
He is now armed with a .22 caliber rifle with a scope and flashlight mounted on it.
Nearby schools closed. Alerts sent to residents.
Residents in the area are asked to continue to secure their homes and vehicles and remain vigilant.
Police say last night, Cavalcante, who was killed before, stole a rifle and ammo from inside an open garage, but he was caught by the homeowner who drew his own gun and fired at the fugitive.
We have no reason to believe that he is injured as a result of that shooting.
Authorities raced to the scene in minutes, but did not find Cavalcante, who may now be shirtless. After, officials say they recovered the green sweatshirt he was seen wearing. Authorities have set up a new perimeter where 500 officers are now scouring the wooded area looking for any clues.
It's scary because he could be anywhere. And
Dr. Matt Bauer is visiting his parents who live in the neighborhood where the shots were fired. The family immediately taking precaution. What came next was a heavy police presence.
The adrenaline starts going and we just are hardwired and kind of running through the house, making sure everything's locked, making sure all the windows are secure.
Meanwhile, authorities say they are closing in.
I believe he is beyond assistance, and he is in that perimeter, and we will actively hunt until we find him.
Authorities say Cavalcante ditched his prison shoes in these nearby woods and may have stolen a pair of work boots from a nearby porch.
The police were hot on his trail, finding a discarded green sweatshirt and a white t-shirt, but Cavalcante was always one step ahead. Danelo Cavalcante's time on the run eventually came to an end, and what an end it was. After a thrilling 2-week chase, Cavalcante was finally captured in a wooded area of South Coventry Township.
Capture, we watch live, as you said, as Cavalcante, a convicted killer, was escorted, surrounded by law enforcement, looking a little beat up, a little tired. He was taken to a police vehicle where he was handcuffed. He will now be taken, we're told, to CSI Phoenix. That's a maximum security facility.
The Pennsylvania State Police, alongside with the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, formed a tactical team that zeroed in on Cavalcante. A U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration aircraft hovering over the wooded search picked up on a heat signal that it began to track. It was then our fugitive was found lying low in the woods, probably thinking he'd pulled off another great escape. But little did he know, the tactical team had him surrounded. And just when he thought he could crawl his way out of this one, a canine unit bit him, ensuring he wasn't going anywhere. Talk about a rough day, right? Now here's a twist. Even after being surrounded, Cavalcante tried to make a run for it. But thanks to the canine unit, his attempt was short-lived. The images from the capture showed him being escorted by officers in camouflage and tactical gear. It's like something straight out of an action movie. Chester County District Attorney Deb Ryan expressed her relief, saying our nightmare is finally over, and the good guys won. She also mentioned how the manhunt had affected many lives, including her own, as Cavalcante's trajectory was close to her residence. And just to add a quirky detail, when Cavalcante was captured, he was wearing an Eagles hooded sweatshirt. I guess even fugitives have their favorite teams.
We have been working most recently in a perimeter established in northern Chester County. Last night, shortly after midnight, a series of events started to unfold. First, we had a burglar alarm at a residence near Prizer Road within the perimeter. Our people investigated that. Did not find Cavalcante there or anyone else, but it started to bring some of our people into that area. We had been searching an area not far from there already with some tactical teams that night. There was an aircraft overhead utilizing FLIR technology, and close to 1 a.m. picked up a heat signal that they began to track. It was west of PA 100 and north of Prizer Road. Tactical teams began to converge on that location where the heat source was moving. Unfortunately, we had a weather system that also came in, and we had lightning that was flashing all around, and it caused the aircraft to have to depart the area. Tactical teams made a decision to secure that area, that smaller area, as best they could, and hold it through the storm and until we could bring additional resources in and bring aircraft back overhead to ensure that we did not have an issue with an escape. That resumed early this morning, and shortly after 8 a.m., tactical teams converged on the area where the heat source was. They were able to move in very quietly. They had the element of surprise. Cavalcante did not realize he was surrounded until that had occurred. That did not stop him from trying to escape. He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went. One of the Customs and Border Control teams, BORTAC, had a dog with them. They released the dog. Some of our PSP CERT members were also there, had him surrounded. The dog subdued him, and team members from both of those teams immediately moved in. He continued to resist, but was forcibly taken into custody. No one was injured as a result of that. Excuse me. He did sustain a minor bite wound.
Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens provided some insight into the capture. Apparently, a burglar alarm went off at a home near Prizer Road and Pottstown Pike in southern Coventry Township. This location was within the search perimeter. Tactical teams held the area during storms to ensure Cavalcante didn't escape. The heat signature of Cavalcante was detected behind Little's John Deere of Pottstown, a store in southern Coventry Township. Bivens mentioned they were able to move in very quietly, and they had the element of surprise. Governor Josh Shapiro praised the law enforcement agencies involved, stating the public, over the last 13 days, has had a chance to see what excellence in law enforcement means. He emphasized the dedication and professionalism of the officers. To wrap things up, Cavalcante's capture brought immense relief to the community and the law enforcement agencies involved. The manhunt, which spanned several parts of Chester County, had residents on edge for 2 weeks. But in the end, justice prevailed, and Cavalcante's run came to a halt. As they say, you can run, but you can't hide forever. Alright guys, if you found this story as gripping as we did, do us a favor and hit that like button. Sharing is caring, so spread the word and share this video with your friends and family. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories like this one. Oh, and don't forget to check out the next video that pops up on your screen. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. Stay informed and stay safe out there.